Hey friends, welcome back to the cabin, and today we're making beeswax food wraps. Recently, I did a video on how I render beeswax, and one of my favorite things to make with that beeswax is beeswax food wraps. And if you've never heard of them, what I like to use them for and what they're wonderful for is zero waste, reusable food covers, bowl covers, or anything that you might use saran wrap for. You can even use them, you can make them big enough to wrap your bread in. You can make beeswax lunch bags to wrap your sandwiches in. There's just many uses, but we're going to keep it simple today, and I'm going to show you how I make just a basic round one. And one of the things that you're going to start off with, now I have several different pieces of cotton here, and I'm going to show you those. This is just pre-washed. I washed these and dried these. It's cotton, 100% cotton. Now you want 100% fabric. You can use linen. I prefer cotton because linen can be pricey, but if you have some linen that you want to recycle, you certainly can use that. And what I'm going to do today is just make a basic round wrap, and this is, I need one for my tea pitcher, so that's why I chose to do this one. We're going to go ahead with a little bit larger one, but you can customize it to any size you need. I've even made some that would cover 9 by 13 pans that are made for gifts for my girls a couple of Christmases ago. And one thing else that you can do, well, first of all, let me show you this. I don't know if you can see it really well, but I used pinking shears to cut this circle out, and that's going to help with the fraying of the thread. And for those of you that don't know what pinking shears are, these are pinking shears. They actually have like a serrated edge, and it cuts, it looks like almost, well, like a little zigzag around, and what that does is going to help the fraying of the edges. But even if you don't have pinking shears, don't let that stop you, because the fraying edges are not going to be a problem. So you only need a few simple supplies. First of all, of course, you're going to need your beeswax. And this is the beeswax that I rendered on the previous video. And I grated the beeswax, and this is probably about 3/4 of a cup, and I just grated it with one of the large metal graters right here. If you don't have your own beeswax, you can certainly order it through Amazon, and I'll leave a link below, and you can get those. I would suggest if you're going to order, go ahead and get the pellets. That will save the step of grating the beeswax. Of course, your fabric, and you'll need some type of metal baking pan. And what I've done to protect it, because beeswax can be very messy, what I've done to protect it is to put a piece of parchment paper that covers it right here, and that's twofold. Protects the pan, plus also if by chance I put too much wax on there and some of it spills over past the fabric, I can just peel it off and put it back with my other beeswax to be used later. So no waste, that's what we love. So what I'm doing now is I'm preheating my oven at 325. You want a medium to medium high, 325, 350, something like that. I'm going to take my fabric and lay it face side, right side down. Okay, and now we're going to sprinkle the wax on top. And you're just going to put just, you know, a nice even layer. You don't want to be real heavy with it, because it'll melt and it'll fill in the fibers. Now some people even take a paintbrush, something dedicated just for that, and they will use that after it's melted to kind of spread it around. And I do have a small paintbrush available if I decide I need to do that. One thing I do want to remind you of is to never leave this unattended. Beeswax is very flammable, so you want to keep a close eye on it. So now let's get this in the oven. I'm going to check this and just see where we are. Wow, you can see that really, really good, but you know what? I think what we're gonna need is a little bit more wax, and that's the wonderful thing about this, is if you didn't put quite enough wax, then you just take and you sprinkle some more on there. And you can see my edges, and I was kind of thinking that I might have to do this just to sprinkle some on the edges, but the edges need a little bit. And we're gonna slip it right back in there. My edges want to curl up there a little bit. And melt that, because we do want your wax to completely cover. So that 3/4 of a cup was just about right for this larger wrap here. Okay, so let's stick this back in the oven for just a few minutes and get it right back out. Alright, so let's take it out and let's see what we've got. Oh wow, that is perfect. I love that yellow. That is perfect. Perfect amount of wax. Now the wax is very, very hot, so you want to let it cool for just a little bit, not too long, because you don't want your wax to stick to your parchment paper. You want it to stay on your fabric. But give it time to cool just a little bit until you can handle it with your fingers. And we'll use our toothpick to lift it off. Oh, look at that. Oh yes. Now there's a little bit still on there, but that's okay because I had plenty of wax. And what you want to do is just take it when it's still warm, but while it's still warm and still kind of pliable, but then you want to hold it up and just wave it back and forth, and that will dry the wax on there. And there you have your beeswax food wrap. One of the blessings on this little homestead is to see so many things come full circle, and the bees are no exception. They give us honey, they pollinate our garden, which is priceless, and then even the beeswax, and if you watch the video prior where I render the wax down, and you see how dirty and ugly it was and how it turned out to be beautiful in the end, we were able to use it to make our wraps. I'll have more videos out coming up soon on other uses that you can do with your beeswax, and it just shows how things come full circle on the homestead. So that's just one of the blessings that God has shined down on us. And you know that I want to leave you with these beautiful words as well. Don't ever forget that your Heavenly Father loves you. And I'll see you on the next video. God bless.